Hi guys, so I know I've already made a video today, but I watched a really moving and really powerful series on TikTok this afternoon that made me realize that actually the message that I keep wanting people to get is one that if I want people to get it, I'm going to have to put it across myself, because nowadays teenagers don't get listened to as much as they should. But I think this is a message that everyone needs to listen to. In today's society, a lot of us are told how we should act, how we should be dressing. And it's not fair. Yes, there are reasons why some of us get told how we should act. There are ways that are correct to act in society, like not being rude to others, being kind, and those are reasonable. But you guys, and not everyone sees life how a 17-year-old girl or a black person sees it. For those who are white as it is, they have a privilege. They don't get questioned, they don't get judged by the colour of their skin. This year, not only have we had the coronavirus and the fires in Australia and the death of Kobe Bryant, but we've also had the murder of George Floyd. And when that was on the news, I kept thinking to myself, that's not right. That shouldn't have happened. Since then, several TikTok users have ended up putting on their profile picture Black Lives Matter, which they do. And since then, there's been protests. People saying that all lives matter. Yes, all lives matter, but at the moment the world only seems to think that white lives matter. So yes, we're saying that Black Lives Matter, but that's not us saying that not all lives matter. That's just us trying to make a point that as well as everyone thinking that white lives matter, Black lives matter too. Since the murder of George Floyd, a lot of people have ended up making a point on their TikTok that yes, we're all different, coloured skin, yes, we're all different, but we're all the same inside, are we not? And I think TikTok is being used nowadays to get that message across, not only to the younger generation, but the older ones as well. The message I want to get across in this video, and what I want to discuss in this video, is try and make people realise that actually, as easy as life may seem for us girls and those who are different coloured skin to us, it's not all that easy. It's a lot more difficult than they think. I'm going to start by talking about girls. Because when you're 17 and you're a girl, you've got literally everyone telling you how you should act. And I'm going to play a TikTok sound that some of you may recognise. But I'm going to play it not because you may recognise it, but because it gets across a very powerful message that I think everyone needs to hear. I'm going to play this sound now in hope that it will get a message across to some people. And then I'm going to play another sound that may make you realise just how much pressure is put on women in today's society.
When you're 17, and when you're a girl, you've got the whole world telling you what to do with your body. Your mom tells you, change your dress, it's too fast, too short, too shiny. And school tells you, cover your shoulders, cover your legs, because they can't tell boys to keep it in their pants. And boys, they're the worst. They tell you they'll only like you if you look impossible. When you're 17,
And that sound, it describes everything that is put on a teenage girl's shoulders in today's society. We have our parents telling us what to wear, advising us on what to wear because they want to keep us safe. But then we have the school moaning at us because we have skirts that are too short or dresses that are too short. And yet when the boys go out in shorts or they're stood there in class messing around, I don't see them being how to go up when they're being jerks. No, it's always blamed on what's the girl's wearing. And if there's one thing I've realised, is that in today's society, uniform regulations and uniform policies are becoming a lot stricter. I got my sixth form uniform regulation list through. And just some of the things that were on there. You can't wear heels that are longer than 5 centimetres. Dresses and skirts have to be no more than 5 centimetres above the knee. You can't wear leggings unless you're doing sports studies, because they're classed as inappropriate. We're not allowed to wear vest tops or shorts that are too short, because they're classed as inappropriate. In today's society, girls are told what to wear and how to wear it, and it's ridiculous. Because yes, girls have a responsibility for their body, but why do you keep telling us girls what to wear and what not to wear and dictating what's appropriate and inappropriate for us? Is it because you can't be bothered to tell the boys to keep it in their pants? Or is it because you can't be bothered to tell the boys to grow up? Because the amount of times I've had a teacher come up to me and have a go at me for making some kind of comment or something in class isn't appropriate, is ridiculous. But a couple of months back in my engineering class, I had a boy come up to me and turn around and tell me outright that he had a boner. And I'm sorry, but if I had gone to the teacher for that, I would have just been told to drop it. Because he's just a teenage boy who can't control his hormones. I'm sorry, but if you can't be bothered to tell the boys to control it and the boys to keep it in their pants, and stop telling us girls what to do. Because it's not always the girl's fault. Sometimes it's the boy's fault as well. And it's getting ridiculous how strict uniform policies are getting, all because boys can't keep it in their pants. And people don't realise just how much pressure is put on teenage girls now in today's society. They think that even if we're white, no matter what colour skin we have an easy life when we don't. Boys complain when they get the slightest cut. And yet when us girls complain because we're in pain from going through just a natural cycle, we get told to grow up and live with it. I went into school the other year with laryngitis. I've been into school with no voice. I've gone into school when I've just had a teeth extraction. I've gone into school with a sprained knee, a sprained ankle. And yet boys who end up having broken bones or just a cold, or they're just being sick because they've been messing around, they will get whole days off. And I'm like, you wonder why we get so frustrated, because you treat the boys so different to how you treat the girls. And that makes life a lot harder for us girls. And I think that's one thing that needs to change, is how society and how schools and parents and everyone views girls, no matter what age they are. The other thing that I think needs to change is how people view people of a different colour. In history class, how many times did you get taught about Black history? Don't answer that, I'll tell you. Once. And even then, it was more focused around white history. When I was in history, I never once learned about Rosa Parks. I didn't learn about the Black people's perspective on the slave trade. I didn't learn about any of the stuff to do with Black history. But I learned about World War I learned about World War II. I learned about the slave trade from a white person's perspective. I learned about King Henry VIII and all of them, and the British Empire and the Spanish Armada. But in today's society, teenagers and anyone old enough to watch it, they have to learn about things like Rosa Parks through science fiction programs. I didn't learn about Rosa Parks until I watched Doctor Who. And in today's society, we're told that all people are equal. But if all people are equal, why do schools only teach white history? Why don't they teach black history as well? Even in today's society, people are being murdered for the colour of their skin. We moved on and made a Human Rights Act, which means no one should be persecuted for the colour of their skin, for who they love, for who they want to go out with, for what they say. But in today's society, people also get persecuted for being gay, for being part of the LGBT community, even for just supporting the LGBT plus community. People get judged and persecuted for the colour of their skin. People get their human rights taken away. And to an extent, yes, that is okay if they are being taken away because they are abusing them, i.e. they are in prison. In which case, only few human rights are taken away. But in today's society, a lot more than that is taken away. People lose the human right of the fact that they have the right to love who they want to love. That they can worship and they can follow whatever religion they want. People are persecuted for the religion they follow. I mean, after all, who would want to listen to a 16-year-old girl who's talking from experience from learning about it in their ethics lessons? My ethics teacher told me that the most important subject that I would be taking last year, and for the past 5 years, is ethics, because not only does it teach you about all of the opinions, everything else that's going on in the country, also teaches you to accept others for who they are. And if there's one thing I've learned through studying ethics, it's that not everyone is accepted for who they are. People are told how they should act. In today's society, people think that it's only Muslims that are persecuted, but Christians are still persecuted as well. And I mean, after all, why would anyone want to listen to a 16-year-old who's just talking because they were told in their ethics lessons that everyone should be equal? Why should anyone listen to a 16-year-old who's still 16, not quite an adult, and just simply saying it because they have a dream that everyone is treated equal? Well, I'll tell you why you should listen. Because yes, I may just be a 16-year-old, but this isn't just a dream that everyone should be treated equal. This was something that was said years back, even centuries back, that everyone was equal. And yet, if everyone is equal, why do people end up being scared during Pride Month? Why do those part of the LGBT plus community end up having something called Prideful? Why are they still hated because they want to be gay, be pansexual, be bisexual? Why are people persecuted because of the religion they serve or they follow? Why are people persecuted for the colour of their skin? And if everyone is equal, why are girls and women still being told to protect themselves because schools and society can't tell boys to keep it in their pants? I am not usually one to fight battles for others. And I'm not usually one to make this type of video. But it hits hard when kids and people grow up. And until secondary, you're so absent-minded and so wrapped up in your own world. You don't realise what's going on around you. And I even get told I am a kid in care, I'm bisexual, and I'm not afraid to say that, but I got told by my carers when I asked if I could buy a flag, yes, but don't hang it out your window because I don't want people coming to the house and attacking it. I'm told that by my own family that God made women to only love men. But at the same time, God also made us to be and tries to encourage us to be like Jesus was, loving, caring, accepting. And whether you're Christian or not, Christian, atheist, Muslim, I'm going to ask you one question that I want you to take, even if you take nothing else from this video, whether you take nothing I said before this question or after this question. I want you to take this question away today and think about it. Would the person you follow, whether it be Allah, whether it be God, whether it be your religious leader, do you think they would want you to be persecuting others because of the colour of their skin, their gender, their sexuality? Or do you think they would be wanting you to act more like them, accepting, loving, kind? Today's society, I see black people being persecuted just because they're black. They have so many less advantages than us. And girls are judged in schools by how pretty they are. They're told, oh, wear makeup. It'll make you look pretty. Don't wear makeup. Don't wear too much makeup. Your skirt's too short. Your dress is too short. Don't wear leggings. We get told that it's uncomfortable for the male teachers to be telling us to pull our skirts down. But do they not think for 2 seconds that it's uncomfortable for us that a male teacher's even looking at how short the skirt is? Because the question I want to ask schools is, if you're going to turn around to students, especially the females, and say, you need to pull your skirt down, your skirt's too short. Don't wear too much makeup. You're telling us that our skirt is too short and our skirt has to be a certain length. But I'm sorry, but if the boys are looking down that low, then do you not surely think that maybe you need to be talking to the boys rather than the girls? We're told to keep our eyes to ourselves and to respect others. Girls are told that all the time. Girls do it. All the boys seem to care about is all the hormones running around in their body, and I hate to say this and I'm not trying to generalize anyone, but the majority of the boys in my year, from my experience, the majority of the boys, and especially teenage boys, all they seem to be bothered about is sex. And that's not right. Yes, girls do it as well. But from my experience and my experience in secondary, the majority of teenage boys only want one thing. They don't want the girl for who they are. And then they wonder why we hate them so much. They wonder why we end up being so wound up in ourselves. We're told to relax. We're told to just be us. We're told to just accept everyone for who they are. But then if that's the case, then why are the adults who are telling us that not doing the same? We get told by the government that everyone is equal. We get told by teachers to accept everyone for who they are. We get told by our parents to treat others as we would like to be treated. But then they're telling us to do that, but do they always implement it themselves? No, they don't. And neither do teachers. No one does. And it's left down to our generation to do so. It wasn't until the coronavirus that we realised just how much countries need to work together instead of starting wars. It shouldn't have taken a global pandemic to make us realise that. We nearly had World War III at the beginning of this year. And no one ever stops to think until the world war nearly starts or until a global pandemic comes around that if countries would get along and stop fighting and put their differences aside, maybe there wouldn't be a need to be threatened with nuclear wars. Maybe there wouldn't be a need for kids to be taught in schools about where we have nuclear weapons, how many countries and what countries have the most nuclear weapons. Maybe if everyone was treated equal as we are told everyone should be, maybe if everyone put their differences aside and stopped to think, maybe then world wars might end. I like to think of the human race like eggs. You could have a very, very lightly coloured eggshell and a very darkly coloured eggshell. But do you choose the lightly coloured one over the darkly coloured one? No. You just use them because they're the same. And that's the same with humans. My best friend, who is also in care, is coloured. She's the same as me. She has the same structure, she has the same bone, she bleeds the same colour blood. She has the same build-up. The only things that are different is her size, her height, her eye colour, her hair colour, and the colour of her skin. Inside, every human is the same. They have the same build-up. They have the same meaning in life. It's just the colour of the skin that changes. And I want to say thank you to the TikTok channel that ended up making that series. Because I think everyone needs to realise that actually in today's society, equality isn't implemented. We get told that everyone is equal. We get told that there is equality in the world. But if there's equality in the world, then why are girls still being told that their skirts have to be a certain length? Why was George Floyd murdered for the colour of his skin? And why are those part of the LGBTQ+ community still scared during the 1 month they should be able to be themselves? Why, if everyone is treated equal, do parents turn their backs on their own children because of their sexuality? Why, if everyone is treated equal, do we still generalize and turn around and say that certain religions are violent, when actually it's not the whole religion, it's just how part of that religion have ended up going off and interpreting their religious scripture? Because if there's one thing I've learned, not all Muslims are bad. Muslims on the whole are nice. Yes, we have such thing as Islam, but they are not part of the religion they say they are. They've twisted the scriptures. And you could watch so many videos online that clarify this. If everyone is equal, why do families turn their back on their own children just for something small? Last year we had a film called Instant Family released, mainly surrounding foster care. But at the same time, that family that started fostering turned around and even they turned around and said, do you not think we will get some very funny looks because of the fact that we are a white family with coloured foster children? And the social worker's words were very suited to the occasion. They said, yes, you'll get some funny looks. Yes, not everyone will agree, but you're doing what's right. And they took on 3 coloured children. A white family took on coloured children, and yes, it's only a film, but if we had more people in the world like that, then the world would be a much better place and a much better place for children to grow up. So I want you to think about whether or not equality actually exists, or whether it's just someone in power saying it to make us all think it exists. I know I'm only a 16-year-old and I'm only one person. But this is a message that everyone needs to hear. Everyone is equal. It doesn't matter what the colour of their skin is or what gender they are or what sexuality they are. And I'm going to hands up say this now, I will probably lose subscribers for this, and I don't care. But at the same time, I want my YouTube channel to be a safe space for those of whatever gender, whatever sexuality, whatever race. And there will be people who have already subscribed that don't agree with this. And if you guys leave, then that's on your account. But if there's one thing that I want to try and promote, even if it's just through this one video, is equality. And I want to get the message out there that everyone is equal, no matter what. So I would like you to go away from this video, and if you want to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's your choice. If you want to subscribe, that's your choice. But what I do want you to do is share it with your friends, with your family. I want you to share it with everyone you know. I want you to share it on social media. I want you to spread the word. Even if you just spread it through this video. I'm not trying to do that to get subscribers. I'm not trying to do that to actually make it so that my YouTube channel is promoted. I'm trying to do it to promote this message and get this message out there. And I'm not saying that everyone's all of a sudden going to make a change. But sometimes, if you want a change to happen, you have to make that change yourself. And sometimes you have to change what you want to be changed. You can't just make everything change whilst not sitting there and doing anything. That's like having the option to vote, not voting, and then moaning about who's been voted Prime Minister. If you're not going to go and vote, then you don't really have a right to turn around and complain. But if you're not going to even try and make that change, then don't complain when that change isn't made. Because it's not going to be the government, it's not going to be the adults that make that change. We as a new generation, and we as a country and a world, need to make the change we want to see. And if that starts from this one video, then let it be. But please, take a message away from this that everyone is equal, and share this video with your friends, with your family, with your school friends on social media. Share it. And let's get everyone knowing the message that everyone is equal no matter what. And let's stop racism and sexism, and let's stop people being prosecuted for the colour of their skin or their gender or their sexuality or their beliefs. Let's stop all of that and make the change we want to see. So go and share this video. Go and spread the word. Go and be the change you want to see.